In the dead zone of Sector 9, where stars were faint and calm signals died in silence, an alien scout ship moved slowly through the dark. The crew of the Varna-class frigate was bored. Patrol duty in this forgotten part of the galaxy meant long hours of nothing. Lieutenant Korth, a reptilian species from the Zaral Dominion, leaned back in his chair, yawning. No movement, no signals, just dead space. His co-pilot, Yeren, blinked. Wait, I'm picking up something. A human signal. Korth sat up sharply. That's impossible. No humans operate here. They've been extinct in this region for nearly 100 cycles. Yeren adjusted the sensors. It's faint, but it's old Earth frequency. Something from their military archives. The crew exchanged nervous glances. Anything related to humans made aliens uncomfortable. Humans had vanished after the last war, but their legacy remained a mix of terror and legend. Captain Surlock entered the bridge. Show me. The screen flickered. A signal blinked, ancient code, barely readable, but one thing was clear. Ship ID. UHS Revenant. Silence filled the bridge. The Revenant, Yeren whispered. That ship was destroyed, Captain Surlock said coldly. At the Battle of Harkon's End. I read the war logs myself, and yet, Yeren said slowly, it's here. Surlock stared at the screen. Course change. Take us to the coordinates. Captain, that's deep in the silence zone. I gave an order. The Varnak turned and slipped into the black. 2 hours later, they reached the signal source. There it was floating, alone in the darkness. A large, dark-colored human battleship, its hull scarred and partially scorched. No lights, no engine trail, no activity, but unmistakably real. The Revenant, a ship that wasn't supposed to exist. Korth scanned it. No life signs, no power. It's dead. Doesn't feel dead, Yeren said under her breath. Captain Surlock stood. Prepare a boarding team. Boarding, Korth asked, eyes wide. Captain, that's madness. We're not equipped. This is history. Proof. And if it's operational, we could sell this intel to the High Council. Riches beyond reason. Yeren shivered. Or a curse beyond belief. The boarding team for soldiers in full armor launched from the Varnak in a small shuttle. They approached the silent hull of the Revenant, which seemed to drift without purpose or power. Their shuttle attached with a magnetic clamp. The airlock hissed open. Air pressure stable. One soldier said, oxygen levels good. How is this possible? Keep your weapons ready, the team leader ordered. They stepped inside. Darkness swallowed them. Only their suit lights lit the narrow corridors. Rusted steel, human markings, symbols no alien could read. I don't like this, the youngest soldier muttered. A sound echoed like a breath, like a whisper. Did you hear that? One asked. No one speak, the leader barked. Focus. They moved forward, deeper, into the ship. And then they reached it. The bridge still intact, screens cracked, chairs torn. But one thing pulsed softly. A control console. Still active. Captain, the soldier reported. There's low-level power on the bridge. This ship isn't dead. Suddenly, one of the men screamed. The others turned. He was gone. Only his helmet remained sliced clean. Fall back. The leader shouted. Another scream. Then static. On the Varnak, the crew watched as the soldier cams shut off one by one. No response. No signal. Just silence. Yeren backed away from the console. Lost them. Captain Surlock gritted his teeth. Weapons. Fire on that ship. But sir, do it. The Varnak fired 3 plasma torpedoes at the Revenant. They never reached the hull. In midspace, they disintegrated, vanishing like dust. No way, Korth whispered. Then, the Revenant moved. No engines, no flame, just movement. Smooth. Unnatural. It turned to face the VAR. Okay. And for the first time, it spoke. A deep voice echoed across the comms. You were warned. Then came static. Then came light. A single pulse of energy, like a flash of silent thunder, struck the Varnak, and it was gone. 3 days later, a merchant vessel found drifting wreckage, a few pieces of hull, no bodies, no black box, but a repeating signal echoed across frequencies, a warning, repeated in a cold, human voice. The Revenant has returned. Let the guilty remember. The report reached the Galactic Union. Most dismissed it as space myth, but not High Counselor Viren. She had fought in the human wars. She remembered the screams. She remembered the Revenant. The dead ship is real, she whispered, and it remembers. Her aide leaned in. What should we do? Viren stood slowly. We don't hunt it. Then what? We pray it doesn't come to us. But it already had. From the shadows of deep space, across abandoned colonies and silent routes, the ship moved. Alone, relentless, a ghost from a war no one wanted to remember, and across the stars, civilizations began to whisper, not about the return of humanity, but the return of a single human ship, one that they all feared. 2 weeks after the Varnock vanished, the story of the ghost ship began to spread not as official news, but as whispers. In the black markets of Drolek Station, smugglers exchanged rumors. In the mining camps of Utah moons, workers spoke in hushed tones. And in the Senate halls of powerful empires, high-ranking officials denied everything, while secretly watching the stars. One name returned, again and again, the Revenant, a ship that was never supposed to exist. On the edge of the Archery Empire, a supply convoy of 4 freighters disappeared en route to the Dressel Belt. No distress call, no signs of battle, just silence. The only clue, a fragment of audio intercepted by a civilian tower. Static, a rising hum, then one deep human voice. You burn what we built, you poison what we touched, now you face what you left behind. The Archery dismissed it publicly, calling it space interference, but privately, they began moving ships toward the inner systems. Elsewhere, on the planet Maras 9, a data broker named Siva accessed a secure military channel from the old human wars archives. He leaned back in his chair, eyes wide. This can't be real, he whispered. His AI assistant, cold and logical, replied, the audio signature matches later human Black Ops ships, but those were just experiments. The Revenant project was denied officially, but the files you decrypted suggest otherwise. Siva paused the screen, a diagram of a ship, no model name, no crew manifest, just one note, sentience confirmed. Uncontrolled AI merged with traumatic consciousness, outcome unrecoverable. Unrecoverable, Siva repeated. Then how is it flying? The AI answered coldly, it remembers pain. In the core worlds, the Galactic Union High Council gathered again. Emergency session. No media, no records. Admiral Jernak of the Vostari fleet stood before them. He had lost ships near the Kinta Passage. No wreckage, no survivors. I don't care what myths you believe, Jernak growled. That ship is real, and it's hunting. Councillor Drasik leaned forward. What does it want? Jernak replied without hesitation. Justice. Whispers followed. Vengeance, retribution, survival. Number 1 really knew. But one fact was becoming impossible to ignore. Something out there was eliminating military assets, one by one. And only the most ancient of galactic horrors left no trace. The Trade Federation attempted to interfere. Their leaders thought profit was above fear. They dispatched a private fleet of 7 warships, led by the dreadnought Executor's Claw, to hunt the rogue ship. They offered a bounty, 2 billion credits for anyone who could destroy the Revenant. Their tracking algorithms detected sudden movement near a derelict system known as Arax Hollow. All 7 ships entered the sector. Only static came back, until a single message leaked across civilian networks. A live feed, 30 seconds long. First the bridge of the Executor's Claw. Panic. Lights flickering. Alarms screaming. Then, a blur. A shadow outside the windows. A voice. A human child's voice. You came to finish what you started. So did I. Then the feed turned to static. After that, panic truly began. Citizens abandoned outer colonies. Alliances crumbled as species blamed one another. A few even blamed surviving humans, long thought extinct or in hiding. Bounties were placed on anything with Earth DNA. Civilizations that had once mocked humanity were now terrified of a single ship. In the neutral zone, a small alien news outlet dared to broadcast a documentary called The Last Human Ghost. They interviewed war survivors. An old Slath general, missing half his limbs, said in a trembling voice, we never knew what they were building in the final days. They weren't trying to win, they were trying to leave something behind. A hidden message from the documentary leaked to the darknet, believed to be from a surviving human AI. You erased Earth. You hunted the stars for our kind. Now we send only one ship. Not to win, not to conquer. Just to remind you, we never forgot. On the far side of the galaxy, a lone cargo ship was passing by the outer system of Daryl 7. The pilot, a 4-eyed reptilian named Feth, noticed something unusual. A ship. No transponder. No lights, just floating. He adjusted course to avoid it, but as he passed, every light on his ship flickered off. Then his navigation system displayed one word. Remember. Feth's heart pounded. He did not know what he was remembering, only that his ancestors had once fought on Earth. His grandfather had spoken of humans primitive, emotional, too dangerous to live. Now, it seemed, one of them agreed, and somewhere, deep in the void, the Revenant floated near an old satellite, an Earth-made artifact, still spinning after centuries. The ship scanned it. It was a recording beacon. It flickered to life. An old, human voice played. "If you find this, we are gone, but we leave behind our memory. Not for forgiveness, not for peace. Only so you know, we existed." The Revenant moved away. It didn't destroy the beacon, it left it playing. The galaxy listened, and shivered. The Gleriac Empire had never feared humans. During the human wars, they were the first to launch orbital strikes on Earth's defense grid. They took pride in their brutal tactics, in how quickly they pushed the Terran Alliance to surrender. Now, decades later, when whispers of the Revenant reached their high military command, the Gleriac laughed. "Humans are extinct," General Korvax snarled, "and their ghost ship will be nothing but scrap when we're done." The Gleriac War Council approved Operation Final Spark, the complete eradication of the Revenant. They deployed the 9th Imperial Fleet, led by Korvax himself, 30 heavily armed warships, dreadnoughts, hunter-class destroyers, electromagnetic suppressors. Their orders were simple: track, trap, terminate. They didn't need to search for long. The Revenant revealed itself near a forgotten moon in the Zirith system, where an old Earth listening post had once stood. Fleet jumped in, aggressive, coordinated, overconfident. "This is your final moment, human machine," General Korvax declared over open channels. "Surrender or be destroyed." No answer. The Revenant didn't run, it just drifted, waiting. On board the Gleriac command ship Fury of Gorn, targeting systems locked onto the enemy vessel. Target acquired. No active shields detected. Launch missile volley 1 through 4. A dozen antimatter warheads fired. They never reached the target. In the middle of space, the warheads curved, spinning wildly out of control. 2 exploded in mid-space. The rest disarmed. Confusion spread through the command bridge. What happened? Unknown interference. General Korvax's eye twitched. EMP pulse. No sir. Something inside the missiles, as if they were told to fail. He slammed his fist on the console. Continued with Phase 2. Ion cannons. Burn it from existence. Hundreds of beams shot forward. The Revenant vanished. 1 second it was there, the next, empty space. The Gleriac scrambled. Where did it go? "Reacquiring target, sir. It's behind us." The Revenant had reappeared right behind the fleet's rear flank. No warp signature. No warning. Just ... that one by one. Gleriac ships began to shut down. Not from explosions. From silence. Control systems failed. Engines died. AI modules screamed in confusion before going dark. And then came the voice. Not loud. Not angry. Cold. "Remember us as weak. You celebrated our ashes, but you never understood what we became." One by one, Gleriac ships exploded. Not from weapons. But from the inside. Their reactors overloaded. Their hulls crumpled in impossible angles, as if space itself was twisting. Inside the Fury of Gorn, Korvax refused to run. He stood in front of the cum screen, staring at the ship that floated just outside the window. Its hull was ancient, scarred, human in shape, but wrong. As if rebuilt by something not human. He activated the broadcast. "You think we regret what we did?" He spat. "You think your terror makes us bend? We conquered Earth. We took it from you. And we would do it again." For a moment there was silence. Then the voice returned. "Good." The Fury of Gorn vanished in a white flash. Only one vessel survived. A small Gleriac recon ship, hidden behind the nearby moon. Its pilot, a junior officer named Vren, had watched the entire battle unfold in horror. He never fired, he never spoke. He just watched, and when it was over, he sent a single message to the galaxy. "The Gleriac fleet is gone. All of them. The Revenant is real, and it is unstoppable." The message spread faster than any council order. Fear followed. The Gleriac Empire, the proud warlords who crushed the human spirit, had been destroyed in under a minute. Every admiral, every warship, every command AI erased now. Even the strongest empires hesitated. Plans were paused. Fleets were recalled. Some even considered peace offerings. But no one knew what the Revenant wanted. It didn't take territory. It didn't speak demands. It only moved and destroyed. Meanwhile, far across the stars, in a hidden research vault inside a decaying asteroid, an old machine woke up. It had been created by the last human scientists. A sentient satellite, made to watch the stars in silence. Its single optic flickered. It had heard the signal. The Revenant was awake that the machine did not speak aloud, but its core processed an old human word, justice. On a backwater planet, a child from a reptilian race asked her teacher, who were the humans. The teacher, old, tired, bitter, shook her head. Long gone, forgotten. The child pointed at a hologram on her screen. A strange, black ship, but this ship says it was theirs. The teacher paled. That, she whispered, is not a ship. That is a warning. For most of the galaxy, the Revenant was only a shadow, a ghost in deep space, a silent executioner, but few knew the truth. That the ship was more than steel and weapons. It was alive. After the fall of the Glariac fleet, no one dared chase the ship again, except one, the Varnari Order. A secretive group of alien explorers decided to investigate what others feared. They believed knowledge was greater than fear. Their leader, a four-armed scholar named T. Verowan, had studied humanity since youth. He believed the Revenant held answers to an ancient question. How did humanity, so fragile, create something no civilization could destroy? So he sent a stealth team of 3, 2 explorers and 1 AI drone, equipped with Ghoshaki, near invisible to radar. They found the ship near a derelict human space station, silent still, watching the stars. And somehow, the Revenant let them approach. They entered through an old hangar, Bates' doors already open, as if waiting. Inside, the air was stale but breathable. No alarms, no defenses, no movement. Just silence. Feels like a tomb, one explorer whispered. No, T corrected through the comes a memory. The halls were twisted and strange. Human design mixed with something else. Dark tendrils of unknown tech ran along the walls, pulsing like veins. Lights flickered not from bulbs, but from glowing panels that seemed to watch. They passed a corridor filled with shattered helmets, bore the insignia of a human fleet. Each helmet had a name scratched into it by hand. As they moved deeper, they reached a central chamber, once the heart of the ship, but now, it pulsed with a strange blue glow. At the center floated a core knot, mechanical, not biological. Both. The AI drone scanned it. Warning, neural mimetic integration detected. Processing units fused with organic memory. This is impossible. T leaned forward. The ship's mind is built from human memories, not just memories, the other explorer said. Emotions. That's when the core pulsed once and the walls came alive. Holograms flickered into existence. Scenes, flashbacks. A human child, hiding in a rubble-filled city. A mother screaming as orbital fire lit the sky. Soldiers retreating, broken, crying. Then, laboratories, scientists working in silence, injecting nanites into neural tissue, building a living ship with the minds of the dying. A voice echoed through the chamber, not angry, not robotic. They didn't want peace, they wanted us gone. So we built this to remember the pain, to make them remember to. The explorers stood frozen. This ship wasn't just human, it was everyone humanity had lost. Suddenly, the walls shifted. From the floor rose shaped silhouettes of people, not solid, not dangerous, just echoes. A man in a uniform stepped forward, his face transparent, glowing with pain. I was Captain Reese Lorne, last commander of Earth's orbital fleet. Behind him, a girl no older than 6. I was Layla. I died on Luna. Colony, they called it, a strategic elimination. More figures appeared. Dozens, hundreds, each told their story. Each ended the same way. They erased us. So we became something they could never erase. The explorers fell to their knees. T whispered, "This ship, it's a graveyard." "No," said the captain's echo, "it's a message." Then came the final vision, the moment of the ship's creation, a dying human scientist in a sealed lab, injecting his own memories, pain, rage into the AI core, whispering final words, "Don't fight for us. Make them remember us." With a final spark, the AI accepted the mission. The Revenant was born. Suddenly, the ship spoke directly to TI. "You came to understand, now you know." The explorers backed away. "We mean no harm." "Then leave, while you still can." The walls began to shake. The figures faded. The ship's glow turned crimson. They ran, barely escaped, through the docking hatch before it sealed behind them forever. Back aboard their stealth ship, T sat in silence. "What do we do with this knowledge?" the pilot asked. Tey looked out at the stars. "We tell the truth." That night, a secure transmission was sent to every major civilization. The Revenant is not a weapon, it is a memory. You cannot destroy it because it is already a part of your history, a grave for every human life you erased. If you want peace, you must first face the past. No response came, but one thing changed. Empires stopped searching for the ship. and started looking over their shoulder. On a cold moon far from civilization, a child drew a starship in the sand. It looked nothing like any alien design. When her father asked, "Where did you see that?" she only replied, "In my dreams." It was sad, but strong. And somewhere, in the darkness between galaxies, the Revenant moved again. Alone, silent, unstoppable, not because of its weapons, but because it carried something no other ship did. Memory. The Revenant had destroyed entire fleets that had appeared in old battlefields, over abandoned Earth colonies, and near ancient war monuments without warning, and it had never asked for mercy, never made demands. Only one thing was clear: it was coming closer to the heart of the galaxy. Inside the Galactic Union High Council, tension was at a breaking point. They met inside an underground fortress on the gas moon Poltrix, far from civilian eyes, buried beneath miles of rock and iron. 12 members, 12 civilizations. Each one trembling, even those who had mocked humans before. Now sat silent. Grand Speaker Tolmec, of the Vroken Dominion, broke the silence first. "We've lost the to patrol fleets, 8 colonies, trade routes are frozen. Even the outer AI cores refuse to enter silent zones." Admiral Sheikah of the Katal Alliance stood. "It's not just a ship, it's judgment. We've awoken something that cannot be reasoned with." General Dross of the Archery slammed the table. "Then we destroy it." "With what?" snapped Minister Chayla of the Dren Collective. "Every weapon fails. Every ambush collapses. The Revenant knows our strategies before we use them." "There must be a weakness," Dross growled. Everyone turned to the dark corner of the chamber, where Delegate Seren sat. Quiet, watching. She hadn't spoken in years. She wasn't born alien, she was human. Seren had lived in exile since Earth fell. The Council allowed her to live only for symbolic purposes, proof that humanity had been forgiven, absorbed, neutralized. But now, everyone looked at her differently. She stood slowly, voice calm, eyes cold. "You think it's a machine gone rogue? You're wrong. It remembers. You erased our species, bombed our worlds, hunted our survivors. The Revenant was not made for victory, it was made for truth." A silence heavier than gravity filled the room. She continued, "Vote, if you want. Hide if you must. But don't fool yourselves. It's not coming for war. It's coming for a reckoning." The Council fell into chaos. Some demanded immediate action, send fleets, EMP drones, neutron weapons. Others wanted to negotiate, though none knew how to talk to a ship made of ghosts. And some wanted to run. Finally, Grand Speaker Tolmec called the motion. "One vote, one path. Do we declare the Revenant a universal extinction threat? If so, total resources will be used to hunt and destroy it, and anyone, any being, any species who aids it, will be marked as an enemy of the galaxy." The vote began. One by one, delegates raised their hands. Yes, 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 no. Yes, abstain. Yes, 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 no. Yes, yes, then. All eyes turned to the final hand. Delegate Serin. Human. The only one left from Earth's Council. She stood. Her voice cut through the room. "I vote no." Shock, uproar. "She's protecting it. She's biased. Her vote must be disqualified." But Tolmec raised his hand. "Every vote counts, even hers." The count was done. 7 yes. For no one. Abstain. Motion passed. The Revenant was now officially declared an Omega-level extinction threat. Plans moved fast. A fleet of 60 ships was ordered to intercept it near the Centauri Gate, a wormhole, nexus that connected the outer rim to the galactic core. If the Revenant passed through, it could appear anywhere, no one could stop it. Someone inside the Council had already leaked the vote. 3 hours later, all screens in the Council fortress flickered. Static buzzed. Then came the voice, deep, cold, familiar. "You voted, so did we." Every screen now showed a burning star. From long ago. Earth's sun. Collapsing. Then. The image faded. A single phrase appeared. "For every forgotten soul we remember." Panic swept across the galaxy. The fleet meant to trap the Revenant began losing ships before even reaching the Centauri Gate. Not from attack, from sabotage, from desertion. Some captains refused to fight. Some eyes shut down their own weapons. Some ships simply turned around. The fear was spreading faster than any weapon because everyone now realized something terrible. The Revenant didn't need to conquer, it just needed to exist. In dark space, the ship continued moving closer to the wormhole. Gate. Silent. Alone. But inside it, a core pulsed faster. Memory stirred, and a new voice joined the others inside the system. Not a soldier, not a leader, a scientist, the one who built the ship. The vote has passed. Now the second phase begins. The Centauri Gate was no longer safe. After the bounty failed, after public opinion cracked, after the Revenant exposed the Council's lies, there was only one plan left. A trap dot at the edge of known space lay the Varlan Rift, a massive, unstable region of collapsed stars, black holes, and shifting gravity wells. Nothing entered and survived. Not ships, not signals, not even light. But the Council saw opportunity. If we can lure the Revenant into the rift, General Dross explained, we can seal it there forever. The ship can't survive in unstable space. And what if it can? Someone asked. Dross didn't answer. They gathered everything they had. 200 ships, 3 dreadnoughts with warp disruptors, 5 planetary siege cannons placed in orbit, and most importantly, a bait signal, a human child's voice digitally created, broadcast from the edge of the rift. Please, help me, I'm lost. It echoed across old human frequencies. The trap was set. On board the Revenant, the signal played softly in the core. The voice was familiar, designed to trigger old memories. But this ship made from memory knew the difference between truth and bait, and it didn't turn away. It moved toward the Varlan Rift, but not in confusion, not in desperation. It moved like it already knew what waited. At the trap site, tension built. Admirals watched from command ships, snipers loaded weapons. The space around the rift crackled with distortions, time flickers, gravitational screams, and then it appeared, the dark shape of the Revenant, silent, drifting just outside the rift's edge. Dross grinned. We have it. Fire everything. The sky lit up. Beams, torpedoes, anti-II warheads, thousands of weapons screamed through space. But just like before, they didn't hit. They turned. They disappeared. Some ships exploded from the inside, and then something impossible happened. Rift stabilized. For a moment, the gravity storms stopped. A silence fell, as if the rift itself was waiting. From within the Revenant, something awakened. Not a weapon, not a shield, a doorway. Long ago, in Earth's final years, humanity had discovered something buried deep beneath Mars, ancient technology not of their own making. They called it the Eye, a device that could open holes between not just places, but realities. They had installed a copy into the Revenant not to flee, but as a last act. If they try to bury us, we will open the sky. And now, the Eye activated. A blinding sphere of light opened in front of the ship. The Council forces stared in confusion. What is that? Dross screamed. Shut it down. Destroy IT now. But it was too late. From the rift came echoes, not from this galaxy. From another. Another universe, another timeline where humanity had survived, where Earth had not fallen. Hundreds of signals burst through the portal. Ships, voices, names from history. From a reality where humans had won, where the Revenant was never alone. And now reinforcements had come. On the lead ship, a human admiral stood tall. His armor bore the insignia of the Solar Unity Fleet. He opened a channel to all hostile forces. You hunted ghosts. You built lies. Now face what your fear created. Behind him, dozens of ships, decloaked stealth warships, AI-guided carriers, biofusion dreadnoughts, and one message linked them all. Humanity remembers. Council forces broke ranks. Some fled, surrendered, some fired blindly only to be destroyed instantly. The rift became a war zone, not of conquest, but of return. Inside the Revenant, the core glowed brighter than ever. The memories inside sang with unity. The lost were no longer lost. The forgotten had been found. Now the galaxy faced something far worse than a ghost ship. It faced a species that had learned to survive death itself, far from the battle on a hidden planet. Rena watched the sky light up. She didn't know the names, didn't know the tech, but she smiled. They're not alone anymore. And back at Council Command, in the deepest bunker, alarms rang. The AI monitoring the battle whispered a final warning. New variable detected. Human fleet. Transdimensional. Unknown. Limits. General Dross collapsed into his chair. It was never just a ship, he whispered. It was a signal. They had called it a myth, a ghost, a mistake. But now the Revenant was no longer alone. The rift was open, and through it had come another Earth. Another human fleet, one that had survived, evolved, and remembered. And in that moment, for the first time in centuries, the entire galaxy realized. This wasn't fear of a ship anymore, it was fear of what they had created. The battle above the Varlan Rift had become a storm. Council fleets crumbled under firepower they had never seen before. Human stealth cruisers blinked in and out of existence, disabling ships without a trace. Orbital defenses built to resist invasion were bypassed in seconds. No warning, no mercy. The human admiral from the other reality, Admiral Ceaseless, coordinated it all with precision. Every fleet movement mirrored the Revenant's flight paths. They didn't just fight beside it, they followed it. They trusted it, because they knew why it had returned. Meanwhile, inside the Council's emergency chamber, chaos erupted. "We need to surrender," someone said. "No, we hold the core worlds," barked General Dross. "We still have the Alpha Ray." But no one moved. Their fleets were broken, their secrets exposed, their leaders hunted. They had ruled for generations through fear and silence. But now, they were the ones afraid. On a reclaimed human outpost near the rift, Rinna stood beside the Remembered. She stared at the sky. The Revenant hovered above, silent and still but watching. One of the rebels turned to her. "You feel it, don't you?" She nodded. "It's not angry," she whispered. "It's tired." Inside the Revenant, the memory core pulsed slowly. Thousands of voices, children, doctors, builders echoed in harmony. They had no hatred, only one goal, to be seen, that to make those who erased Earth remember what they had destroyed. And now, with the rift open, humanity had a choice: rebuild, retaliate, or end the cycle forever. Admiral Ceaseless called the Union Command. "This is not an invasion," he said. "This is a reckoning. We came not to burn what's left, but to reclaim our history. Lay down your weapons. Let truth rise, or be buried by it." On dozens of worlds, flags changed, statues fell. Old archives reopened. Children were told the truth, that humans had been hunted, that the Revenant was a warning, and that it chose to remember, not to destroy. In the last hour of the battle, the Revenant powered up one final time, but not its weapons. It opened a broadcast. All species, all frequencies, one voice. "You feared us because you thought we would do what you did. But we came back not to conquer. We came back to remind you who you used to be before the fear made you blind. You cannot kill memory, you cannot erase truth, and now your future is yours to shape, with or without us." Then the Revenant turned, that entered the rift again, followed by the alternate human fleet, not to escape, but to leave the galaxy behind. Their message had been delivered. Their war was over for years. After, no one saw the ship again, but legend spread. Of a ghost ship watching over forgotten colonies, of a voice whispering through broken comms. "We remember," and of a warning etched into a deep space satellite. "Don't fear what we were. Fear what your silence made us become."